Title ** The Tale of the African Ancient Mystery Bride. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Kingdom. In a distant land, where golden plains stretched to the horizon and the skies were painted in shades of red and orange, there lay a kingdom so old that its name was whispered only in the wind. This was the kingdom of Ndum, a place of power, mystery, and forgotten gods. The kingdom was surrounded by high, mist-covered mountains, its people living in harmony with the spirits of nature, with traditions and rituals that had been passed down for centuries. At the heart of the kingdom stood a grand palace made of stone and adorned with intricate carvings of animals and gods. The royal family, the descendants of a long line of rulers, was said to have been chosen by the gods themselves. Their power, however, was not merely from the throne. They were bound to the land, to the spirits that lived beneath the earth, and to the skies above. Every generation, the king was to marry a woman chosen by fate to be his queen. This union was more than just a marriage. It was a sacred bond meant to protect the kingdom and its people. But for many generations, there was a curse that shadowed this sacred ritual. Every royal bride, no matter how beautiful or wise, disappeared on the night of their wedding. The people believed this curse had been cast by the ancient gods after the betrayal of a queen long ago, a queen who had defied the spirits and had caused the kingdom to fall into ruin. Chapter 2. King Abasai's Dilemma. King Abasai, the ruler of Ndum, was a powerful man. Tall and regal, with eyes that mirrored the stormy skies, he carried the weight of his ancestors on his shoulders. He had inherited the throne young after his father's sudden death, and with it, the knowledge of the curse that haunted his family. The time had come for King Abasai to choose a bride, and the lunar eclipse was fast approaching. This celestial event, according to ancient prophecy, was the moment when the curse would either be broken or sealed forever. The people of Ndum anxiously awaited the king's choice, but no matter who the bride was, the fate of all past brides weighed heavily on their minds. Each wedding had been a time of joy that quickly turned to sorrow, as the bride was always taken, vanishing into the dark night. There was only one way to break the curse. The king needed to marry a woman with a pure heart, one who could communicate with the ancient spirits and understand the language of the earth. Only she could survive the sacred ceremony and restore the balance between the living and the spirits. But who could possibly fulfill such a heavy task? Chapter 3. Kazi's Arrival. Kazi was a young woman who lived in the village of Murembe, at the edge of the kingdom. She had grown up an orphan, raised by the kingdom's wise elders, and had always felt a deep connection to the land. She had an uncanny ability to understand the wind's whispers, the river's song, and the earth's tremors. Her heart was full of compassion, and her spirit, though humble, was fierce. One day, as she walked along the edge of the forest, Kazi found herself drawn to a place she had never seen before, an ancient tree, its roots twisted and gnarled, with carvings of gods and animals that seemed to pulse with energy. As she reached out to touch the tree, a strange sensation washed over her, and she heard a voice, soft, like a distant memory. "Kazi," it whispered. "You are the one." The voice was familiar, as if it belonged to a long-lost ancestor, and it echoed in her mind. She stumbled back, heart racing, unsure of what had just happened. But deep inside, she felt a stirring of something ancient, a calling she could not ignore. Chapter 4. The Revelation. That night, as Kazi sat by the fire, the village elders gathered around her, their faces grave. They had known of her unusual connection to the spirits for some time, but it wasn't until the previous evening's events that they realized the truth. Kazi was the reincarnation of Queen Nzinga, the long-lost queen whose betrayal had caused the curse on the royal family. The elders explained that the curse could only be broken by the true heir of Queen Nzinga. Kazi was the one destined to lift the veil of darkness that had haunted the kingdom for centuries. But with this knowledge came a great burden. Kazi would have to marry King Abasai, uniting the royal bloodline with the power of the land. Only through this union could the spirits be appeased and the curse broken. Kazi, torn between her loyalty to her people and the deep, personal fears she felt about her role, knew she had no choice. The fate of the kingdom rested on her shoulders. Chapter 5. The Sacred Ceremony. The day of the wedding arrived, the sun setting as the moon began its ascent into the sky, ready to eclipse the sun. The people of Ndum gathered in the great palace, their faces filled with both hope and dread. Kazi, dressed in robes made of silk and gold, stood beside King Abesai at the altar, her heart heavy with the weight of destiny. The ceremony began, the ancient chants of the priests filling the air. As the lunar eclipse began, a strange silence settled over the crowd. The spirits of the land, awakened by the eclipse, seemed to stir in the earth beneath their feet. Kazi and Abesai clasped hands, and as they did, the ground trembled. Suddenly, Kazi was pulled from the palace grounds and into a realm of shadows, where the spirits of the past waited. The figure of Queen Nzinga appeared before her, her eyes filled with both sorrow and wisdom. "You are the key, Kazi," the spirit of Queen Nzinga said. "Only you can break the curse. Only you can restore the balance between the living and the spirits." Kazi stood tall, her heart pounding. She understood now that her destiny was not just to marry King Abesai, but to embrace the power that flowed through her veins and accept the responsibility of her lineage. Chapter 6. Breaking the Curse. In that moment, Kazi called upon the spirits of the land, her voice ringing clear and true. She spoke the ancient words, the language of the earth, that no one had spoken for centuries. The spirits answered, and the curse began to unravel. The sky above them shifted as the moon slowly returned to its normal shape. Kazi's eyes glowed with a powerful light, and the air around them shimmered with magic. The land, the spirits, and the royal bloodline were finally restored to harmony. As Kazi returned to the palace, she and King Abesai stood together before the people of Ndum. The curse was broken. The kingdom was saved. But more than that, Kazi had not only restored peace to the kingdom, but also reconciled the ancient rift between the living and the spirits of the land. Epilogue: A New Dawn. Years passed, and under the reign of King Abesai and Queen Kazi, the kingdom of Ndum flourished. The people lived in peace, knowing that the spirits of the land were always with them. Kazi became a beloved queen, wise and fair, and her story was passed down through generations as a reminder that even in the face of great darkness, the light of courage and love could always shine through. And the kingdom, forever bound to the land and its ancient spirits, thrived, its future now free from the shadows of the past.